So we're back, and as I said, the last one, excuse me, they were out front, cars zooming back and forth, dressed in camo and doing their little training and all that. A couple people stopped and questioned what they were doing. One person even got a little snippy about it, which, hey, I can argue both sides of that. I can argue both sides of anything. It doesn't matter if I agree with it or not. I can argue both sides. But I think that, I think they were just looking for attention, to be totally honest. That's all I think it was. It's an airsoft group just looking for attention. But anyway, they were more than willing to have me hang out and join their group. But I just wasn't interested. Wasn't interested in an airsoft group who was playing military. So those are my 3 experiences with militia groups, and I would have to say that parts of the problems were me in all 3 situations. My attitude and the way, first of all, I'm not going to be a follower to anybody. Just isn't. I'm not going to do it. Secondly, in all honesty, the only people I truly care about are my wife, my kids, and my grandkids. Those are the only people on this planet that I will protect to the death. And I don't have any relationship with anybody else. Don't want to have a relationship with anybody else. And as far as I'm concerned, everybody else on the planet does not mean anything to me. It may sound rude, it may sound horrible, but, other than the fact that my kids and my grandkids are going to need people around to continue, I don't really care about anybody else. So, we talked about militia groups. Let's see, we talked about the end of the world, loosely, here's a topic. Military. I get so frustrated when I hear people talk about, they obviously know how to use a weapon. They were in the military, or they know how to fight. They were in the military. That peeves me off to no end. I'm telling you right now that no, that's not even close to accurate. First of all, you have infantry and artillery are the 2 combative arms in the military. Everything else is supportive, clerical, whatever else. As far as combat, out there shooting people on a regular basis because that's your job. The military does not necessarily mean that you have the ability to do these things. Martial arts and combat training, as in fighting, nobody in the military has extensive training. Nobody does. No matter what your job was. I found it ludicrous when I went into the military. They were still teaching the system called Sikaron, which was a bastardized version of a Filipino kicking art that they mixed some Shotokan, I think it is, some Shotokan karate with. It was a disaster, in my opinion. They wanted me to go to their little training and go through their course to teach it, and I refused. I told them no. I said that it's not realistic. It's not truth in combat as I see it, and I'm not going to be a part of it. I'm not going to do it. And apparently the military agreed with me because, it took them a while, but after I left, several years later, after I left, they implemented Gracie Jiu-Jitsu type stuff And even then, that's not, I don't think that that's 100%, you know. There's no such thing, in my opinion, in martial arts as one art being 100% for everybody. Just isn't going to happen. And that's why I was very eclectic when it came to my training. I trained what I thought was good for me and how things worked for me. And for me, I found what I was looking for, and that's how I trained it. But it was for me. Somebody else it wouldn't necessarily work for. But there I am jumping back. Let's go back to the military thing. Thinking just because people have been in the military, they know how to fight and they know how to use weapons is ridiculous. It's just not true. Just is not true. Maybe better than the normal average person, but I wouldn't even go that far. Wouldn't even go that far. I know plenty of people that were in the military that I wouldn't stand behind them when they were shooting a gun, let alone stand in front of them. You know, there's not hardly anybody, actually, as far as I was concerned at the time I was in the military, I never knew a single person, not one, that I thought was an effective fighter. And I'm not talking about a martial artist, I'm talking about a fighter. Not a single one that I knew that was a effective fighter. And I never learned anything substantial about fighting and combat in the military. All my stuff was civilian. And I just don't like listening to people who think, well, just because they were in the military, they know what they're doing, because they don't. What we got here? Yeah, so remember, ex-military or present military, it doesn't mean crap about survival skills, fighting ability, weapon skills, etc. That's basically what I jotted down as a note. And I truly believe that. So let's see what else we have on our little notes here. See what our time is. 7 minutes. And all right, let's get into some really crazy stuff. I already alluded to the fact that a birth certificate is nothing more than ownership papers. Social Security cards, driver's license. Driver's license drive me freaking insane. Our Constitution says that we have the right to travel without the need of papers. Enough said. Period. Of course, that doesn't occur. Cops like to say, well, driving a car isn't traveling, it's operating a vehicle. Well, if a driver's license was nothing more than an operator's license, which they like to claim, then why do you need my address? Why do you need my birth certificate? Why do you need 2 forms of mail that prove I live where I live? It's got nothing to do with driving a vehicle. It's got everything to do with control, control, control. And we're going to drop that subject right there. Thank you for watching Bentley's Backwoods Bushcrafting.